What's going on, guys? Hey, my name is Logan Manzanares, and in this video, I'm going to show you the numbers on my very first investment property. I'm going to show you a lot of the things I did right and a lot of the silly things that I did wrong. So let's break down the numbers. Let's go. Hey guys, if you're new here, my name is Logan Manzanares. I'm a business owner, I'm a fitness professional. Me and my wife currently own over $5 million worth of real estate. That cash flows well over 6 figures every single year. And so I make these videos on this channel to show you how you can do exactly the same thing, how you can make investments and cash flows so you don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. You literally can do what you want with who you want, however much you want to do it. So without further ado, let's dive into the video. All right, guys, so let's break down the numbers on my very first investment property back in 2019. And so back in 2019, me and my wife, we had gone through a season that we called saving, right? So for the previous 2 years before that, from 2007 to 2019, we went through the season called saving, and we saved up all of our cash. Stacking cash was that season in our life. Our business was doing really well, and we just literally pushed everything into a savings account. And we got to a point where we hit our first $100,000 in the bank account. We're like, whoa! Like for the first couple of days, we were super excited, and all of a sudden, we got really scared. We're like, what the hell do we do with this money? And so we knew that we were going to put in real estate. It was just a matter of how. And so it took us a couple of years to actually figure out what we want to do, how we're going to do it. And then our first deal finally came along in 2019, and it was a Hud foreclosure. And so this home had gone all the way back to the government, and a real estate agent who was actually a client of ours at the gym for a long time kept on sending me this deal. When it comes to the Hud process, basically what happens is that the Hud foreclosures, they give option to home buyers who are going to use those as primary first, and then investors. And so basically we had to wait for everybody who wanted to buy it as a home to basically put their offer in. And fortunately, or maybe unfortunately, nobody did. So we put our offer in. I can remember us putting an offer in at like 200,000, right? And like they wanted $300,000 for this home. And a couple months later, they came back to us and said, hey, like, would you take 280,000? We're like, we'll do 220. Right. And then they said no. And then literally the third time, I can remember it's the third time, our real estate agent named Jesse called us. He's like, hey, like they said that they would do 240. He's like, I think we should do it. I was like, okay. And so that's how we got our first deal, was through a Hud foreclosure at 240. So here come the numbers, and let's go ahead and let's dive into the numbers. All right, guys, so now you guys can see on here, so we ended up purchasing this home for $240,000. When it appraised for right at $240,000. And so we ended up putting $60,000 down. We ended up putting $7,200 in closing costs. We didn't have any rehab, it was turnkey. And so total property investment on this property was $67,200, okay? Now, if we come over here, here was our breakdown of our monthly payment, okay? So our PITI, the PI was $936, so that's principal and interest. Monthly taxes were $133. Monthly insurance was $86, and so the total payment was $1,155.76. So those numbers, these right here, these numbers, you have to know any of those numbers. And so these were the scenarios, and so we ended up actually renting it for $1,950. So just ignore these other two numbers right here. So we rented it for $1,950. And so our monthly cash flow on this property was $794, okay? And so our cash on cash return on that $67,000 was 14%, which honestly for a first deal, pretty dang good, right? Pretty dang good. And so it turned out to be a really good deal for us right when we bought it. So 14%, not too bad. Now, let's fast forward 2.5 years. So we still have renters in there, but now the renters in there, they actually pay $20.75. We have now refinanced this property earlier this year as well. So our payment actually has gone up quite a bit. So $14.23, all these other numbers should change. And we end up pulling out $50,000. And so let's just leave this as $10,000 still in here. And so now if we kind of look at the numbers down through here, let's go ahead and scroll down. So now our cash flow actually went down. So it went down from what I said was before, down to 652. But look at our cash on cash return. It is over 100%. Right? Over 100%. And the truth of the matter is that we actually could have took a little bit more out of this property. Oops, $10. That's probably not right. $10,000. There we go, $10,000. Maybe that'll change this number. 45%, right? So it went from, what did I say, 14% all the way up to 45% simply by doing a cash out refi. And we actually have used that cash, that $50,000, that we invested into a whole other property, and we did it all over again. So a lot of times people ask me the question of like, well, how are you buying so much real estate so fast? The question is that we use our equity, and our appreciation from our first property, we basically extract that, try to get as much money out of that deal as we possibly can, make sure it still cash flows. You can still see it still cash flows, $652. Now we have $50,000 we can put into a whole other project. And now our cash on cash return went from 14% to 45%. If you keep on doing that over and over again, now you can see the velocity of money. And that's really the power of being able to use something like real estate as a way to grow your wealth, is that literally like that appreciation. So now when we appraised it earlier this year, it went from a purchase, like we purchased for $240, is what it appraised at. It appraised at $390,000 literally 2.5 years later. And so that was the value of putting it in real estate, that piece grew on its own. And even if for some reason it didn't grow on its own, like we saw the principal pay down as well. So that's the value of putting your money in real estate. And that's why I'm a huge believer in it. Not only does it make you money today, but it makes you a ton of money tomorrow as well. So that's the breakdown of our first deal. Again, we did a lot of things right. We did some things wrong. And so if you like more of these videos, you want to see me break down more of our deals and kind of how we're using that money to grow our portfolio so fast, let me know. Comment below, reach out. And if you want this sheet, let me know, and I'll send you the sheet so you can break down exactly the numbers of your properties as well. So without further ado, my name is Logan Manzanares, and I'm out. Bye.